previously. Okay, so we're going to start by sitting in a comfortable position, making sure that we're not going to be leaning back into anything or slouching to the side. We want to just make sure we're sitting up in nice and tall over our sit bones. And it doesn't matter what you're doing with your hands right now. You can have them on your lap. You can have them down beside you on the chair or on the bed, on the couch, whatever you're sitting on. And what we're going to start with is we're just going to start by trying to elongate our spine, thinking about growing nice and tall through our pelvis, up our spine, out the top of the head towards the ceiling. Good. And from here, we're going to gently place our hands underneath the rib cage, and we're just going to breathe here. So breathing in and out. Good. Again, in and out. So as we're breathing here, we're going to try to make sure we're not letting the shoulders come up to the ears, but we're going to keep them down and nice and elongated away from the ears. And we're going to keep our spine nice and tall, even as we're breathing out. So we're not slouching as we're breathing out, but instead we're maintaining that same height, no matter if we're breathing in or out here. Good. And again. Just one more to ground ourselves. Good. Keeping our spine nice and long, we're going to gently place our hands, palm up, elbows bending into our side. And we're going to do our dumb waiter exercise where we keep the shoulders down and we're just opening up the hands out to the side like so. And back in. Good. Keeping the spine nice and long, making sure we're not slouching as we're doing this, making sure we're not turning the body as we're doing this, but we're keeping the breastbone forward as much as we can. Good. Opening up the chest, palm nice and wide, shoulders down, still breathing. Good. Couple more here. Opening the chest, lovely. Good. And now we're just going to add in our Cleopatra. So we're going to open the arms into the dumb waiter, and then we're going to turn the palms down and reach the arms away from us. Reaching your fingers to the opposite ends of the room. And then we're going to turn the palms up, bend the elbows, and coming back in. Again, we're opening the hands up to the side, turn the palms down, and reach to the opposite ends of the room. Good. Palms up, elbows in, coming back to our waiter. Good. On the next one, we're going to lift our heels up as we come out into the Cleopatra, and then lower the heels as we bring the arms back in. Good. And again, lift up onto our toes as we're coming out to the Cleopatra, lowering the heels as we bend the elbows back in. Lovely. Nice and tall through the spine as we're doing this. Really trying to reach those arms, reach those fingers to the opposite ends of the walls. Good. And again, reaching those toes down, heels up, and down. Good. Let's do two more here in your own time. Trying to keep that spine nice and long if you can. Still breathing. Good. One more. And open. Good. Reach those fingers as far away as you can. Head nice and tall. Good. And relax the arms down by your side. Good. We're going to do our mermaid stretch now. So you're going to sweep one of your arms up along the side of your body to either this position beside you, or if you would like, you can go all the way up overhead, depending on what feels comfortable for your shoulder. And as you're doing that, you're going to look away from where the arm is, and then you're going to sweep the arm back down. Other side, sweeping the arm up your side and raising the arm up overhead, your head looking in the opposite direction. Or again, if you can't lift up, you can go out to the side. That's absolutely fine as well. Again, sweeping up your side, and you can either reach out beside you or overhead, whichever you prefer, and sweeping the arm down. Good. Again, other side, sweep the arm up and over, either overhead or beside you. You're looking in the opposite way, and then sweeping the arm back down. Good. This time, when we sweep, we're going to circle the arms forward towards our face and then away again. So here, you can either circle from the top back around to the top, or if you're somebody who has the arm there and you can't reach up, that's okay. You could sweep forward, down, and around, like so. So you can choose which version feels comfortable for you. So notice here that I'm arching my spine to the opposite direction, neck nice and long. Good, one more here. And then we're going to sweep the arm back down. Other side, sweeping the arm up your side, either overhead or beside you, head looking in the opposite direction. And you're going to sweep the arm forward and around. If you've got your arm to the side, you're sweeping forward and down. If you've got your arm overhead, you're sweeping forward towards the head and then back up like so. Good. Whichever version you prefer is absolutely fine. Good. We'll do one more here. Good. And then you're going to sweep the arm back down. Good. From here, we're going to float both arms up in front of you, palms facing down, shoulders away from the ears, and you're going to do your foot series, which looks like this. You're lifting up both heels together, and then you're lowering one, and then you're switching through the feet. So you're pedaling through your feet, and as one heel reaches towards the floor and the other one goes up to the ceiling, making sure that we're sitting nice and tall and both feet are moving together. So we're not doing one at a time like this, but we're moving together, pedaling through the feet. Good. Stay nice and tall. Imagine you're balancing a book on top of the head. And you're going to be nice and tall as you're pedaling through the feet. Good. Breathing here. Good. Nice and long with the spine. Good. We're going to keep the feet going. This time we're going to open our arms out to the side to open the chest. Shoulders down, make sure they're not rising up here, but you're keeping the shoulders down, staying that same nice and tall height. And we're just pedaling through the feet. Good. That's it. And as we're doing that, we're going to lower the arms back down, but keep the feet going. This time, you're going to try doing the opposite arm as the heel flick. You're going to try to get the arm up, have the opposite heel, and then you're going to switch over like so. So we're going to try to avoid this kind of movement on the same side like this, but instead you want the opposite heel to be popped up, and you're just sweeping the arms forward like so. Making sure our knees are not coming in together, right? We're keeping the legs parallel. And as you're doing this, of course, you don't have to do it quick. You can, if you would like, do it at this speed, or you can pedal through. It's entirely up to you. But we're trying to maintain that same height at the top of the head. Try not to get into this kind of position as we're pedaling through our feet. Good. Keep going. Lovely. Breathing nice and tall. Shoulders away from the ears. Good. Keep going. Lovely. Let's do 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Good. From here, depending on where you're sitting, either on your bed or on your couch, you're going to slowly slide one arm away from you down so that you can start to lean onto that side and bring your legs up one at a time to lie down on your back. Now, just like the previous weeks, when you lie down on your back, it's up to you whether you're using pillows or not. And if you are using pillows, it's absolutely fine if you end up being in quite a high position. If you can't lie flat, that's not a problem at all. Whatever is comfortable for you in lying. And as we're here, we're just going to gently draw up one leg at a time, getting the legs together to start with. And you're just going to open up those toes like so, and then open up the heels such that your legs and your feet are now parallel to each other. From here, we're just going to revisit our Pilates rest position to start with. And as you'll probably remember from the previous weeks, the Pilates rest position is a position that we try to maintain throughout all of our exercises. And the first thing on the Pilates rest position is we're going to put our hands together in a diamond shape like so. And you're going to place your thumbs in your belly button and the hand just down on your pelvis. So if I turn sideways, you'll see here, thumb in the belly button, the rest of the hand down, so it looks like a diamond shape on the pelvis. And you're just going to imagine there is a steel ball in the middle of the diamond, and you're going to use your pelvis movement to roll that ball up the diamond as far as you can, and then you're going to roll it to the very bottom of the diamond as far as you can. So we're going to do this a couple of times, trying to roll that steel ball in the diamond to the very top of the diamond and then the very bottom of the diamond. That's it. And with each repetition here, you're just going to make the movement smaller and smaller until you get to a point where you're halfway between the top of the diamond and halfway between the bottom of the diamond. And this is what we call the neutral pelvis. And you're going to maintain this neutral pelvis the entire time during the class. And the next element on our Pilates rest position is our pelvic floor. And you're going to imagine here that you're sitting on a block of ice and it's very cold, and you pulled up through your pelvic floor by about 20%. So we're not clenching. It's a gentle pull through that pelvic floor. And as we're doing that, we want to make sure we're not losing our neutral pelvis just because we're pulling up through the pelvic floor. Good. Next element is our ribs. We're going to think about melting our ribs down into the bed, not letting them flare up. And as we let the ribs melt down into the bed, we're going to make sure our neutral pelvis is still maintained and we're still pulling up through that pelvic floor. Good. Next one, our shoulder blades. We're going to feel how heavy our shoulder blades are into the bed, and we're going to slide them down towards our feet such that you're imagining tucking your shoulder blades into the opposite back pocket of your pants. Good. And the last element of our Pilates rest position is our neck. We're going to elongate the back of our neck, nodding our head down, almost like you're holding a little peach underneath the chin. And all the elements that we just spoke about, those things make up our Pilates rest position, which is where we're going to hold our position during the entire duration of our Pilates class, trying to make sure that we're not losing anything as we move along. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go straight into our double leg stretch. We're going to float the arms up to the ceiling. And from here, we're going to slide one of our heels away while reaching our arms away. And then we're going to bring the heel back and circle the arms back in. And then switching sides. Now, remembering as we're doing this, we're not starting to flare our ribs or lose that neutral pelvis. As we're doing the movements here, you want to try to maintain your Pilates rest position as you're doing this movement here. And you almost want to think about the non-moving knee as having something balanced on top of the kneecap so that we're not twisting like so as we're moving through our double leg stretch. Good. Breathing, shoulders away from the ears as we're moving through our double leg stretch. Good. Trying to make sure that we're not flaring our ribs, we're not losing the neutral pelvis, we're not wobbling from side to side, we're keeping the stationary knee stationary. Good. And it might help you if you think about having a spirit level sitting across the front of the pelvis, where you're trying to keep that little bubble in the middle the whole time, so try not to tip from side to side as we're doing our double leg stretch. That's it, keep going. So your heel should be on the floor, or sorry, on the bed, and you're sliding it away from you and then back towards you. Good. And remember, you don't have to do it very quick. You can do this in your own time, and it doesn't have to match the speed that I'm doing. You can just do a speed that is comfortable for you, as long as we're holding our trunk, our Pilates rest position, nice and strong. Good. Keep going. Loudly. We'll see if we can do 2 more here in your own time. And 1 more. Good. And when you finish, you're just going to float your arms back down. From here, we're going to do our 1 leg stretch, level 2. We're going to float 1 leg up to tabletop like so. And you're going to reach that leg away from you, almost like you're pressing a button on the opposite wall with your toes. And then you're going to bring it back into the tabletop and lower it back down. And then switching sides, tabletop like this. And then you're reaching it away from you, almost like you're pressing a button on the opposite wall with your toes, bringing the leg back in and lowering. And as you're doing this, we want to make sure we're not flaring our ribs, right? So we're keeping that down as we're moving through our 1 leg stretch, level 2. And you're holding everything nice and stationary, including the non-moving knee. We're still thinking about balancing something on top of the knee, so you don't want to let the knee flop to the side. And if it helps, you can also think about that spirit level across the front of the hips, which keeps that little bubble right in the middle the entire time. Mentally going through our Pilates rest position checklist, making sure we're maintaining that neutral pelvis. We're pulling up through the pelvic floor, letting the ribs melt, shoulders away from the ears, back of the neck still nice and long. Good, keep going. Breathing. Good. Well done, that's it, keep going. Remember, you can do this at your own time. It doesn't have to match my speed. You can do this slower if you would like, or quicker. as long as you're trying to maintain that stability. Good. Let's do one more here. That's it, good. And down, good. Next, we're going to do our double tabletop. We're going to maintain our neutral pelvis. We're keeping that contraction in our pelvic floor, still thinking about the ribs melting down into the bed, shoulder blades pressing heavy into the bed and sliding down towards our feet, back of the neck nice and long with that peach underneath our chin. From here, we're going to bring one leg up to our tabletop like so, and then you're going to deepen the contraction in your stomach muscles, and then you're going to float the other leg up to tabletop if you can without that happening. And then you're going to lower one leg and then lower the other leg, keeping that neutral pelvis, neck nice and long. Other side. Bring one leg up to tabletop, deepen the contraction in your stomach muscles, and then float the other leg up to tabletop, legs together, and then you're going to lower one leg and lower the other one. Try not to let the ribs flare as we're doing that, not losing your neutral pelvis. Deepen the contraction, floating up to tabletop, good. And then you're going to lower one down and lower the other one down. So really think about that spirit level that's right in the middle of your pelvis, and you're not letting it do this kind of movement. You're going to keep it there nice and strong as you're moving your legs like so. If this is too difficult, don't worry. You can bring it back to level 1 where you bring one leg up to tabletop and then you lower down. So you don't have to lift both legs. You can stick to a single leg if you would like so, as long as you're maintaining the Pilates rest element that we spoke about before. Good. Keep going. A couple more here in your own time. That's it. Keep going. Good. And rest for a second. So you can let your abdominals loosen up. You can lose that neutral pelvis for a little bit if you would like. And we're going to get right back into it. So we're going to make that diamond shape with our hands again, placing the thumbs in the belly button and the rest of the hand lowering down. And you're just going to go over your pelvic tilting again to try to find that neutral pelvis where you're sort of halfway between one extreme and halfway between the other extreme. Good. And then you're going to gently pull up through your pelvic floor as if sitting on a really cold block of ice, and just pulled up a little bit, letting the ribs melt into the bed. Shoulder blades nice and heavy, sliding down towards the opposite back pocket of our pants. Back of the neck nice and long, a little peach underneath the chin. And while we're here, we're going to do our shoulder bridge, which is thinking about our spine as a piece of string or a string of pearls, and you're letting it come up one vertebrae at a time and then lowering one vertebrae at a time. So you're starting with your tailbone lifting off the bed, one spine bone at a time, all the way up, until you get to the point where your weight is sort of in the middle of your shoulder blades, making sure that this position here is very different to this position. So this here, we're crunching our neck and we're arching our back. That's too high. Make sure you bring it down so that we're nice and flat, nice and neutral. And at the top here, we're going to pop one heel like this and then bring that heel back down. And then we're going to lower one vertebrae at a time to return to our start position. Good. And again, we're going to peel, starting with our tailbone, one vertebrae at a time. So you get to the very top of your bridge. And then we're going to pop the other heel up, lower that heel, and we're gonna lower our spine one vertebrae at a time, back down. Good, and again, starting with the tailbone, lifting one vertebrae at a time, making sure we're not swaying like so as we're coming up. You want to keep yourself nice and steady. Pop one heel, lower the heel, and then lower one vertebrae at a time. Your bottom should be the last thing to come down. Good. And again, breathing, shoulders away from the ears. Really articulate through that spine. And then at the top, holding it, lift up one heel, lower one heel, and you're going to gently bring one vertebrae at a time back down, like so. Good. See if we can do 2 more here in your own time. And really here, the slower the better, because you want to really articulate through that spine. Popping that one heel at the top, lowering, and then lowering one vertebrae at a time all the way down. Good. One more in your own time. Making sure the shoulders are still away from the ears. Good. Lifting one heel, lowering the heel, and then bringing that bridge back down. Bottom being the last thing to come down. Good, and rest. Next, we're gonna find our Pilates rest position again, thinking about the neutral pelvis, pulling up through the pelvic floor, letting the ribs mount down into the bed, shoulder blades pressing down into the bed and towards our feet, back of the neck nice and long, thinking about a peach underneath the chin. And from here, you're going to try to place your hands behind your head or neck if you can reach. If not, you can place your hands, your fingers on your shoulders so they're like so. Okay, so from here, you're going to imagine there is a string connecting the very bottom of your rib cage to the front of the opposite hip. And you want to imagine I'm pulling that string. So you're coming up into an oblique prep where the bottom of one side of your rib is going to the opposite hip, like so. So it's not your elbow coming forward, but it's that bottom of the rib going to the opposite hip, and then you're going to lower back down. Making sure as we're doing this, we're not crunching through the neck, but we're keeping that peach underneath the chin, neck nice and long, and you're concentrating on the bottom of the rib going towards the opposite hip. Good. If this is too hard, don't worry. You can roll to one side with your upper body and then try to lift one shoulder off. But if you can't, practice rolling your upper body to one side rather than lifting it. Good. Well done. Keep going. Breathing. Shoulders away from the ears, so not up here, down. Good. And you're really thinking about leading with that rib to the opposite hip. Good, well done. That's it, lovely. So make sure you're keeping the trunk nice and long. We're not arching like this where we're shortening our ribs, but we're keeping our ribs nice and long, keeping our spine nice and long. It's coming from the front of your tummy muscles. Good, that's it. Let's do one more here. Breathing, lowering down, and relax. Good. You're going to bring your legs in together. We're going to open the arms out to the side. Now, I'm really close to the wall here, so you'll see my arm bent, but ideally, you want both arms to be open like so, legs in together. And we're going to do our hip twist level 2, where we're dropping the legs to one side, feeling that rotational stretch in the back. And notice here how my knees and feet are stacked on top. I'm not leaving one leg behind like this, but I'm making sure my knees and feet are stacked. And then we're just going to relax here and feel that stretch across the back, trying to get the shoulders down towards the bed as much as you can. Good. From here, you're going to imagine there are big magnets at the very bottom of your feet and the lower part of your back. And there's also magnets on your bed or your couch, and they're just going to suck your feet and hit back to the middle. Good. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side, dropping the knees to one side, making sure the feet and knee are stacked, so I'm not leaving one leg behind like this, but I'm stacking them on top, feeling that rotational stretch across the back. Good. Imagining the magnets at the bottom of the feet and the back of the hip. That's going to suck you back to the middle. Good. Let's do one more each side. Slowly lowering the knees, making sure the legs are stacked on top. You're not leaving one leg behind. Feeling that stretch in the back. And then imagining the magnets at the bottom of your feet, bringing you back to the middle. Good. One more time, other side. Stacking those legs on top so we're not leaving a leg behind. Good. And it's going to bring you back to the middle. Good. From here, we're going to drop the knees to one side. Doesn't matter if they're stacked. And you're going to bring your upper body to one side so that we're lying on our side. I'm just going to move back a little bit on my platform so you can see me better. And from here, you can do what you like with your arm. It doesn't have to be up like mine. It can be forward, under the head, under your pillow, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Now, lying on your side, your feet should be bent and your feet should be in line with your hip, in line with the shoulder, in line with the head. From here, we're going to find our neutral pelvis again by pulling that top hip down towards our feet. So you can see here at the top of my pants, there's a red line. So if I relax, you can see that my top hip and my bottom hip are not in line. They're sort of on a diagonal. So in order to make the red line flat and perpendicular to the floor, I'm going to pull my top hip down towards my feet such that it creates a little bit of a gap underneath my spine. And that is our neutral pelvis. So we're going to keep that there. And we're going to imagine there are some headlights at the front of our hips. Right now, they're pointing directly forward, but we just want to tip them down slightly so they're on a bit of a diagonal. Good. From here, we're going to do our clams level 2. And we're just going to keep our feet together and we're going to lift our feet up off the bed and then lower them down without moving our trunk. Good. So you're still trying to keep that little gap underneath your spine, still having the headlights pointing down towards the floor, and you're just going to lift both feet up like so. If this is too difficult, don't worry, you don't have to do that. You can keep your feet down and you can just go into our normal clams like so. Opening that top knee. So you can either stick to the clams level 1, like what I'm doing here, or you can start to do level 2, which is lifting your feet and then trying to open up your legs in this position. If this is too hard, don't worry. You can just do the prep of lifting up the feet if you like, or you can do your level 1, which is just opening like so. Good. And of course, you can always mix and match. You can do a couple here in level 1, and then maybe you want to do a couple of leg lifts like this. Or maybe you want to do a couple of level 2s. Entirely up to you. Whatever feels challenging, but a little bit more comfortable for you is absolutely fine. Trying to make sure the shoulders aren't up, and we're going to lower the shoulders down. Good. Keeping that little gap underneath your spine. Headlights pointing slightly down towards the floor. Good. Excellent. Let's do 2 more in your own time. Good, and rest for a second. You can rub out the top of the hip if you like. Good. We're going to do our side kick, which is going to be still thinking about our neutral pelvis. You're pulling that top hip down towards your feet to create a little gap underneath your spine. Thinking about headlights at the front of the hips, pointing forward right now, but you're going to point them slightly down on a bit of a diagonal. From here, side kick level 1, keeping your legs bent. You're going to float one leg up so that there's a gap between your thighs and lowering it down. Now, the most important thing about our side kick here is we're not letting the foot be higher than the knee, and we're not letting the knee be higher than the foot. You're trying to have your foot and knee sort of on the same line here so that your shin is still parallel to your bottom shin. Good. So we're still maintaining that gap underneath our spine by pulling the top hip down. And we're just going to hover the leg like so. And if you're somebody who wants it to be a little bit more challenging, you can start to move the leg. So you hover it and you're going to imagine the top leg is resting on a glass table and you're going to dust across that glass table, making sure that as we're dusting, we're not lowering the leg down like this, right? We want that gap, and you're not letting the foot be higher or the knee be higher, but you want both to be sort of equal here as we do our level 1 side kick. But of course, if this is too difficult, don't worry. You don't have to move it. You can go back to this one here where you're trying to hover that leg. That's absolutely fine. So remember, it's whatever feels more comfortable to you, but still challenging. Good. Let's do 2 more here in our own time. Lovely. Good job. 1 more. And rest. Good. Okay. From here, you can have a pillow under your head or multiple pillows if you like. We're going to bring our arms forward like this, so straighten the arms. And you're going to place your hands together. From here, you're going to open up that top arm in a big circle across to bring your breastbone up to the ceiling, and then you're going to circle back forward like so. So it's almost like you're drawing a big circle with the arm. Now, of course, you can see my arm is bent because I'm really close to my wall, but ideally it should be straight the whole way around. That's it. Good. And here you're relaxing your body, right? We're not thinking about the headlights. We're not thinking about that little tunnel underneath our spine. We're just opening that breastbone. Good. 1 more. Good. And rest. From here, we're going to bring our legs back into the middle. Bring our back into the middle as well. And you're going to drop your knees to the other side, like so, and roll onto your other side. Now, I'm going to turn around so I can do this facing you. But just make sure you're rotating to the other side. From here, your legs are bent together. And again, your feet should be in line with your hip, in line with the shoulder, in line with the head. Okay, so here, we're going to find our neutral spine again. I'm trying to pull that top hip down towards our feet. So let me do that again. Top hip, pulling down towards the feet like so that the hips are now level rather than on that diagonal. You're leveling out the hips. And while you're doing that, you're also at the same time creating a little gap underneath your spine to get that neutral spine. And if we think about the headlights at the front of our hips, right now they're pointing sort of forward in front of you, but you want to just slightly bend them down so you're pointing them on a diagonal slightly towards the floor. We're going to maintain this position the entire time we're doing our side exercises. So we're going to start with our clams first. You can either do your clams level 1 like this, opening up the knees, but still keeping the headlights pointing down. and still keeping that gap under our spine. Or if you would like, you can start to go into clamps level 2 prep, where you're lifting the feet off like so. Or if you like more of a challenge, you can do clamps level 2, which is the same as clamps 1, except you're keeping the feet off the bed like so. And it's entirely up to you. You can do a couple here in clamps 1, and then a couple of them like so, and then perhaps a couple of them in clamps level 2. It's entirely up to you, whatever you feel is challenging for yourself, but still doable. Good. Are we breathing? Making sure our shoulders are not like this, right? We want to keep them down away from the ears. You're still keeping that little gap underneath your spine. Headlight still pointing down towards the floor on a bit of a diagonal. Good. That's it. Let's do a couple more here. I'm just going to go back to level 2 in case anybody is doing level 2. Good. And relax down. You can rub out the side of your hip if you like. And then we're going to go right back into it, thinking about pulling that top hip down, creating a little gap under our spine. Headlights pointing down slightly on a diagonal. From here, we're going to do our side kick, which you can either do this way, where you're hovering the leg up and down, making sure the knee and the foot are level and we're not lifting the foot higher than the knee or the knee higher than the foot, but you're keeping that nice and level, nice and parallel. And you can either stay here, or if you would like, imagine your top leg is resting on a glass table and you're dusting across that glass table. Noticing here, my leg, my thighs are still separated. I'm not lowering them down like this, and I'm not lowering them down like this, but you're keeping that up into your side kick level 1. And of course, you don't have to bring the leg forward and back. You can stick to this one if you would like. Whatever is more comfortable for you. And remember, it doesn't have to be quick. You don't have to do it like that. The slower, the better. Good. Shoulders away from the ears still. Let's do a couple more here. One more. And rest. Good. You're going to bring your arms forward, straighten those arms, palms together, pillows under the head. You can relax your body. We don't need to do the headlights or the little arch underneath the spine here. Just relax the body. Hands together. You're going to bring the top arm around in a circle. Opening that breastbone, remembering arms are straight, but of course I'm close to my wall, so I can't straighten my arm, but you want to straighten your arm all the way around like this. And again, so you're rotating the upper part of your spine to let your breastbone open up to the ceiling. Good. That's it, keep going. Lovely. See if we can do one more here. You're really opening up that chest. Good, excellent. From here, we're going to lie down on our back. You can leave the legs straight, you can bend them, you can place your arms wherever you like. Just a comfortable position. You can relax everything. We're not doing our resting position. All you're doing here is you're going to feel the weight of your head on your bed or on your couch, depending on what you're lying on. And you're just going to really feel how heavy the head is pressing down into your pillow. And keeping that heaviness in the head, you're just going to roll the head from side to side, almost as if you're trying to press the scalp into the pillow. So you're really just letting the head be as heavy as you can as you're rolling through the neck, like so. Feeling that weight of the head on the bed. As you're turning the head, it's almost like you're shifting that weight of your head into different parts of your scalp. Good. And then we're going to try the same thing, nodding the head up and down, trying to feel the heaviness of the scalp, heaviness of the skull as you're nodding the head here. Good. One more. Good. From here, you're going to gently draw up one knee at a time, unless you've already got your knees there. And then you're going to drop your knees to one side. We're going to slowly have a sit up by pushing onto the arms, reaching your feet off the ground into a seated position. Good. And remembering, as you're sitting up, we're going to try to get right onto our sit bones. So we're not going to slouch or lean to one side, but we're trying to be on top of our sit bones. Feet flat onto the floor, feeling all 10 toes on the floor. And as we're sitting here, we're just going to think about elongating the spine towards the ceiling, almost like you've got a helium balloon for a head and it's reaching you up towards the ceiling. And you're going to float the arms up and open the arms on sort of a 45-degree angle, shoulders down, and we're going to do our saw, which is keeping the arms open at 45 degrees, keeping this upper body as a unit, and you're going to twist the entire body in a unit, and you're going to twist back like so. Still keeping the spine nice and long as we're twisting. Good, so we're not going to all of a sudden drop one side. We're going to twist the whole body in a unit. Good, so we're not opening or closing the arms. The arms stay in this kind of 45-degree angle, shoulders down, and you're rotating from your upper body. Good, one more. Back to the middle, good, and we're going to lower the arms. This time we're going to do our chest stretch, so palms up. We're going to float the arms up, and then you're going to open them on a diagonal to spread that chest. Now, if this is too difficult and you can't lift your arm, that's okay. Keep them flat. So the idea is you're opening the arms, opening the chest, and you're squeezing back with those shoulder blades together. Bring them forward and down. Good. So you can either keep them at 90 degrees or you can float your arms up and then open on a bit of a diagonal, squeezing those shoulder blades back to open up that chest. Good. And down. Let's do a couple more here in your own time. Keeping that spine nice and long, sitting up tall. Good. One more. Good. And down. Good. We're going to place our fingertips onto the bed or the couch, wherever you're lying on. And we're going to go back to our mermaid stretch. So we're going to sweep our arm up one side, and you're going to reach it up overhead or out to the side if you can't reach it up. And your head's going to look in the opposite direction. And then you're going to sweep the arm back down your side. Good. Other side. Sweeping the arms either up overhead or to the side, whatever feels more comfortable for your shoulders. Then you're going to sweep it back down like so. Again, you're sweeping it up your side, looking in the opposite direction, and then you're sweeping back down. Again, sweeping up the side, looking in the opposite direction, and then you're sweeping the arm back down. Good. One more each side. Sweeping your arms up your side, over to one side, sweeping the arms back down. One more. Sweeping the arm up, looking in the opposite direction, and then bringing the arm back down your side. Good. From here, place the arms nice and wide away from us, and we're going to cross them in front, almost like you're taking off a shirt. So that cross up and open position. And of course, if that hurts your shoulder or you can't reach up, that's fine. Cross the arms, open forward. That's fine as well. Up to you. Good. So crossing the arms, you can either open forward or you can cross the arms and open up overhead. Trying to keep that spine nice and long as you're doing this opening position. Good. And we're going to reverse it. You're going to reach those arms away from you, up overhead, crossing and bring them back down. Or if you can't reach up, reach those fingers away from you to the side, close in front and lower. That's fine as well. It's entirely up to you which version feels a little bit more comfortable for you. But you're still trying to reach those arms, really feel the stretch. Good. One more. Reaching up overhead, cross and lower down. Good. Thank you everybody for joining us for our final Pilates level 1 class. I hope you all had a great time. I'm just coming forward so I can have a look at the chat box and see whether we have any questions. So these webinars are recorded, so it does mean that it will be on our website and on our YouTube channel, so you can, of course, always refer back to it if you want to redo the class. If you have any feedback, we would love to hear from you. You can either type in the chat box, or of course, you can always email us as well, and it'll help us decide whether we want to run another class in the future. And yes, and exactly as Alana mentioned in the chat box, do check out the Parkinson Super Walk if you like. The link is at the very top of the chat box. You can click directly on the link and it will bring you to the Super Walk website. Yeah, great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for our 4 weeks of Pilates. I hope you've had some fun, and I hope this is a nice, gentle way for you to start your day and get some mobility in your body. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and we hope we'll see you at some of our future webinars. Thank you, everyone.